Gentlemen, today we will be doing Allcraft. We will be joined by none other than the famous, two-time, fired from Blizzard caster, Rich Campbell. And also our guest today, Fandy. Streams WoW, plays a lot of WoW. She's played WoW forever. Probably plays WoW more than I do on her stream. We're gonna bring her on. We're gonna have a good time, and just get her opinion on the game. So let me go back over here. Wait, what's this here? Everybody just reacted all day. None of this shit in the title actually happened. So what? Yeah, so what? So what? Like, what do you want me to do? Yeah, well, I did do the Mail Muncher run. Oh, because I said I would get the Mail Muncher and I didn't get the Mail Muncher. Alright, you know what? We're gonna start the fucking show. Yeah, we're gonna start the fucking show, dude. Okay, if it's false advertisement? No, if it's false advertisement, I'd just put in the title big announcement every day, okay? That's about it. Yeah, let's go ahead and get this, okay? Give me 1 second. Alright, here we go. Yo, what up?
Yo, should I tell them the big announcement now, or should we wait until the end?
The big announcement now or the end? You know what, man? Like, we haven't done an announcement for a while at the beginning, so why don't I just get this set up real quick? Wait, you titled the image that you sent me for Fandy? You titled it Fandy Simp.
Okay, you just never noticed our naming convention. So the simple graphic is simp. It's always been that way. It wasn't just for
man. The other ones say simple. This one just says simp.
No, they all say
I'm pretty
simp.
sure. Let me see.
That's not coincidence. That's not coincidence.
No, the S-Man one said S-Man simp too. I've always named them that way. I didn't change it because it's Fandy.
Right, just give me 1 second. And we're going to go ahead. We're going to open up Microsoft Paint right here. And I'm going to just go ahead and pull this up. We will look at this right now. Give me 1 second, boys. I will pull this up, and you guys will see. All right, we're going to crop this. I've got to go back over to my other frame real quick. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to add the frame right here. Window capture. There it is. Look at that. So we've got Zico Simple, Annie Simple, Fandy Simp.
It's always been simple, I swear, dude. Why would I randomly change the naming convention?
I don't know, Rich, why would you?
Yeah.
It's more efficient to use less letters. It saves me a lot of time. Think about it. If it saves me 2 seconds every single time I do it every week. By the time Allcraft's done, I would have saved a whole year.
Yeah, a minute, yeah. Okay, all right, well, that's close enough. Well, anyway, we're on. Thank you very much, Fandy, for joining us. I know this is probably very early for you, right? Did you just wake up?
I actually set an alarm to be here because I normally wake up at like 4 p.m.
Yeah, that's about right. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how are you liking Shadowlands? You got into beta, I'm sure.
Yeah, played around on the Hunter last night. I was doing, did a +10 actually. It was, I don't know, I think it's scale a little weird, but I think they're still gonna work on that. But
so you did the Mythic Plus on the beta?
Yep.
Oh really? Okay, all right, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Now that the beta's actually out, I feel like people are actually getting to play in a lot of ways. Because you know when alpha was, I mean, you haven't played the game on stream in 2 years, but when you actually do look at the beta, all of a sudden we're kind of in a situation where you can do a lot of the stuff that was maybe in the alpha, but you couldn't find people to play it with, right? I mean, I think the three of us did Torghast a few times together. Like there was that one night we all did Torghast. I know Asmon, I did Torghast a few times with Fandy. I think you and I just did Torghast, the two of us. But besides that, it was pretty hard to get dungeon groups together. So now all of a sudden we're really starting to see Shadowlands in a way that we haven't before. And I feel like we should actually start off with one thing that I think is the most positive thing about Shadowlands right now. I feel like it definitively is one of the best looking expansions we've had with the most varied environments that we've had in a really long time. I'm curious how you guys actually feel that weighs into how good the expansion actually will be, because we're obviously going to be spending a lot of time in these areas, especially with daily quests.
Oh, I think it's fucking awesome. Like, I love Rivendreth, man. Like, it reminds me so much of like a Castlevania theme. I see like all the vampires, the gothic castles, everything about it just feels good. Maldraxxus feels good. Ardenweald is not really my cup of tea, but you know, I think that it looks good. And even Bastion, whatever it is, like the Kyrian area, I like it because it's more unique, and that's awesome. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Ardenweald is probably like one of my favorite zones. I think just like visually it looks like amazing to me. Also Bastion, I would say, as well. And then was doing, I think, Theater of Pain last night. I was getting very like Naxxramas vibes. Because there's different wings and stuff of the dungeon.
Yeah.
You can like kind of pick which one you wanted to go into first, and I really liked that. I thought it was pretty cool.
I think Ardenweald's the best zone, or it's my favorite personally. And the thing is I really don't like Maldraxxus. That one's not my favorite, but I understand how it could be somebody else's favorite, right? And I think that's one of the things that's really exciting about this expansion. Because I think one of the weakest things about Legion, and I like Legion a lot as an expansion, but in a lot of ways, you kind of felt like you were in the same place. Like the theme was so strong in that expansion that it was almost overwhelming. And I think that we're going to have a lot of variety going into this one, which I think does increase the replayability quite a bit.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, I feel like it's way better. And I'm super happy about like how the expansion's turning out so far. Like, I'm very, very satisfied. I mean, the only problem, and I think like everybody probably feels the same way about this almost, is probably Covenants, right? And Covenants and the way that they've been handling it is, it's not very good. But other than that, I really think they've been doing a great job with like the art and everything surrounding that, especially. I'm very satisfied.
I'm going to say something positive though, right? The thing is initially, and I'm actually really excited. So the three of us last night, or well, I don't know, Zach, if you were really in the conversation, but Fandy and I both thought that the Ian interview was today because we were both up super late and we saw the tweet and we didn't understand the time zone thing. I feel like that interview is going to tell us so much. I actually think it's probably the only interview. Yeah, it's probably the only interview out of all the interviews that actually fucking means anything. Like, let's be completely honest. A lot of those interviews, you go into them and you don't really expect that much because how are you really going to be able to, like, what are you going to say? Like, yo, why did you do this? Like, we don't like this.
Why'd you decide to make the game suck? Right?
Because, like, the thing is when you look at a lot of the questions that we actually have about the previous expansion, right? When you look at corruptions and things like that, it's like, why would you do it like this? We didn't like it. And obviously they're not going to be able to answer questions like that. Now that we have the beta, I feel like there are a lot of questions and a lot of the testing has started to be done, because initially a lot of the negative things about Covenants that we all said was all theory in Blizzard's defense, right? Like, we were looking at the systems and we were going, wait, this doesn't look like it's going to work. And now it's actually going to be in people's hands. They can actually try it out. That was the thing that they asked us to wait for, was to actually try the Covenants. They said, hey, if it doesn't work, we'll change it. That was one of the first things that was said. And I kind of want to hear from you guys with what you've seen so far. Do you think that that's the realm that we're in? Do you think now that we've tried it, we do need to change it?
I don't know. I mean, Fandy, you've played it more than me. Like, what do you think?
I'm gonna be honest. I know you guys like hate the Covenants and stuff like that, but picking the Covenant that gives you the best DPS is only really going to apply to people who are like min-maxing. Like, you can go into normal and heroic raid and pick whatever fucking Covenant you want. Like, those abilities, it's normal and heroic. You know what I mean? If you're doing like mythic, then yeah, you might feel like you're shoehorned into a decision that, you know, you might not want to join because, you know, you're like, you want to pick the one that you like, but this one gives better DPS, so you have to do that. And I think Blizzard's probably going to end up sticking to like the design that they're doing now, because they know that that's really only going to affect the mythic raiders. Like, you can walk in normal and heroic, pick whatever you want, get the boss done. Like, that's just how it is.
I'm gonna challenge that really quick and use like a metaphor, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if one day you had to make a decision that was what you were going to wear that day, who your entire friend group was going to be, what your job was going to be, and who you were going to marry. Like, and it was all jumbled up. All the options were randomly jumbled up. So it's like, if you end up taking this job, you have a bunch of friends that you hate, or like one of them might look really, really appealing, but you basically are choosing every single life decision in a bundle that's randomly jumbled together. I feel like when you look at the covenants, you're making your WoW life decisions across the board like that. You're choosing your story, you're choosing your power, you're choosing how you look, and you're potentially choosing who you can go through that content with, because it's affecting your daily content as well. Like, I don't necessarily think it's just a power decision. I think it's the fact that all of the systems are so interwoven that you can't make any of those decisions independently.
I just worry that I'll pick a covenant that's going to suck, and then it's not going to be good. I do bad damage, and then what if Venthyr isn't number one, but I want to be Venthyr, and it's like this weird thing, and then people feel like they have to pick the right one. I think, Fandy, you're right. Does it really matter whether somebody is picking...
You're only doing normal and heroic.
Yeah. Does it really matter? No, it doesn't really matter. But does it really matter if people are playing Arms or Fury or Ret Paladin and Classic? No, it doesn't matter. The bosses fall over anyway, but people still min-max it like crazy. And that's what I'm kind of worried about. Like, I'm worried that people are going to take the mentality and then just like kind of extrapolate it into covenants too. Hopefully that won't happen though.
I actually think it hurts casuals way more than we think.
We'll see.
Like not even in the power way. I agree with you, right? Like most of the content in the game right now is it's pretty easy, right? And then a lot of the stuff that is difficult tends to be more annoying than difficult. And then a lot of the stuff that is really difficult, like you said, it's a small group of players who go about it. Like how many people actively tried to get down Mythic N'Zoth? I feel like it seemed like less people than ever before that were Mythic raiding. I definitely agree that the power game might not be the area where it makes the largest impact. I do think that there is always a trickle down. We've seen that with classes in the past. Like when people decided that shamans were bad, I think the community still thinks shamans are bad when shamans are perfectly fine.
People think Ret Paladins suck because they suck in classic WoW.
Yeah.
Like the thing is, like the metas that we have, like I remember back in Cataclysm and even in Mists of Pandaria, people would ask, they would join my raid to do like Siege of Orgrimmar, and they would zone in and they would say they're saved, and I'd be like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I only did 25 man this week. I'm like, bro, that hasn't been a thing for 4 years. It takes 2 expansions for like the player base to catch up to decisions Blizzard makes, like way in the past, man. It was insane.
I think every progression group too in Mythic raiding uses at least one Ret Paladin too, right? Like, and it had that kind of thing for a while. They're great, especially on progression. They have a lot of unique things that allow them to be really good. They kind of stink in PvP sometimes because of the mobility, but
are we talking about classic or retail?
Retail.
Oh, I mean, they have like crazy burst right now, and you needed an immune for N'Zoth for Mythic, so
yeah, they're insane in PvE. Like I think that they're a little bit weaker in PvP, right? Because it's hard to find really good comps with them. But then also like Rextroy the other day just decided to start one-shotting people with them.
Fanny, have you watched those videos, the Rextroy videos?
No, I haven't. No.
You should. Like,
wait, did you see the new thing that was added, Fandy, though? I said it to you last night, the inescapable consequences.
Wasn't that for him?
It's his fault, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually don't like the fact that they added that. That was something I did want to talk about, and it's kind of one of the only things in the current game I wanted to talk about. How do you guys feel about, so for anyone who doesn't know, they added a new corruption effect. So if you're at 200 total corruption, you get a thing called inescapable consequences, which I think a lot of us have, but never mind. Inescapable consequences, which ultimately it does 25% of your health, I think, every 1 second once you're in combat.
Yep.
So you pretty much just, you die. You actually can't immune it as well. So paladins can't.
How convenient.
Yeah, right. I think the only thing that affects it, the only interaction, is versatility. What a fun stat! We love
best stat in the game, man. What can I say?
So much fun. We love verse. So now all of a sudden this is here. Fandy, start with you. How do you really feel about capping this end game progression, making it so you just outright die if you use too much?
I think it's kind of pointless at this point. They're already removing corruption in the pre-patch, so I don't know. I think at this point, have fun with the corruption, stack as much shit as you want. I mean, you pretty much almost exploded before anyway, so I don't know. I don't really think it's like that significant, to be honest.
I think it's funny. Like,
it is, I mean, yeah,
it's funny. Like, watching those videos are fucking funny. Like, he just one-shot somebody at 2,500 rating. Like, the only thing that I don't like, I wish they had, you know, like in Warzone, where, like, you kill somebody and then it opens their mic and you can hear what they say. I wish they had that for Arena. And, like, you can have, like, one guy just, like, pounding his fucking desk after he just gets one-shot by a prop paladin at 2,400 rating, thinking he's farming for Gladiator, and he's actually going to get farmed by somebody that doesn't even know what they're doing. I think that's amazing. I understand why they had to kind of get rid of it, because it would turn into a meta. Like, yeah, sure. But at the same time, it's really funny to see stuff like that happen. And that's why I always like seeing things like Rex Troy's videos, because it's just pushing the limits of something that should not exist, and then making it not only exist, but also succeed. I think that's cool.
Was he just running like a shitload of Twilight dev? Is that
no,
what
he did Infinite Stars.
There was that one too. Remember the tank one where the guy just comes out of the arena and he just like does the bear swipe, and then you just see like this giant purple ball, and it just hits somebody and fucking one shots him.
The Infinite Stars one was funny though. Great. Like when he went up against an unholy Death Knight or something, he would just one shot a pet randomly every now and then. He like wouldn't be able to hit the right target, which was kind of funny. But I don't know. The inescapable consequences kind of seems like a fun detected thing in a lot of ways. I understand it in PvP. Like, there does need to be something with PvP, but I don't think it's the biggest deal ever. I really don't. But when you're adding a system, which is a one-time progression system, I feel like the entire reason that this system has sucked so bad is because they don't let you have fun with it. Like, the actual content of corruption was like, hey, look, we added something, but you can't use it yet. And then they start adding all of these ways where you can start using it, and the content becomes actually waiting for them to make their content playable. Mm-hmm. And now you get to the point where you can actually have it, and they're like, yeah, but you can't just keep getting it. All right.
That's the best part is the Blizzard corruption rotation. Waiting is now content. I'm like, man, this is it's too much. I don't know. Like, I'm hoping that like in Shadowlands, like we see like obviously now like we've got the beta, and I like all the systems that they're adding in. Now, Fandy, I'm kind of curious about like your take on this, because every expansion now we've had like a half a dozen systems get added. Do you like that, or do you want to see just more things baked into like the basic classes?
Are you talking about like essences and azurite in the neck and the cloak and all of that? Or...
And corruptions and
corruptions?
Yeah.
I mean, I think to an extent that they're good, because people are gonna at one point be like, well, I'm bored, you know, what is there to do in the game? You always want to have something to work towards. So when you get like to the end of the expansion like it is now, it feels like there's so much catching up and stuff to do. But if they didn't have that, people would just say that they're bored the entire time, in my opinion. You can sit and, I guess, grind M+ or do the raids and stuff, but if you don't have something to work towards, or maybe you don't do that, then I don't know. I think they might be kind of like a necessary evil to an extent. Maybe not. I don't really care for azurite armors and stuff like that, but I don't necessarily think it's like bad.
I kind of agree, honestly. Like, I'd rather have something to do than nothing to do, and this goes into like Rich and I's like 4-hour debate about if WoD was worse than BFA. But I would rather have something interesting to do. It's just that I want it to be capped. Like, I want there to be a fucking cap. Like, you just finish it and that's it.
The big problem with this expansion is how many systems have they just remained as something to do, versus how many systems were really broken and the content became them becoming playable later on. I think that's the dynamic I don't want to see anymore. Yeah. Like, are we really supposed to be getting excited that they fixed the system instead of just shipping it well? I do agree there needs to be stuff to do, And I think that there are a lot of ways to make that possible. I've even said I thought that the echoes felt pretty decent because unlike Azerite power, besides the rotating corruption vendor, but when you actually look at what it does in the game, if I'm sitting there and none of my friends are online, and then all of a sudden Fandy comes online, she's like, let's do a dungeon, and I don't really need to do a dungeon, but I'm like, well, at least I'll get echoes. And then Fandy gets offline, I'm like, damn, I don't have anyone to play with. And then Zach gets online, and Zach's like, hey, dude, you want to do a battleground? It's like, yeah, why the fuck not? I'll still get echoes. That felt good because you also knew that there was an end to it. But even after you already hit the end, you're like, yeah, I can just stack up more. I can do a different build. I can be creative. And
or
I can
just
actually
planning for whenever Blizzard nerfs the corruption to artificially extend the content, so you have to do the same thing over again. You know, it's a good solution there too.
Somebody just said you have no friends, Rich.
Wow. See, you can't. The thing is, you can't read the chat. Like 90% of the time.
I have it closed.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Very good solution. Like they're not even talking about this show. They're like just spamming about Rich looking like Luigi or me being bald or something. Like,
no, there were a few people who were saying that I was hot, so I kept looking. I was gonna VIP them.
Oh, they were talking about you? That's crazy. I thought they were talking about me, man. Wow. Okay, I see how it is.
Of course they were talking. Who else would they be talking about? They're talking about me, dude. Yeah. They're talking about me, dude.
Look, I mean, I'm okay with some of these systems. I think they're fun to do, but like, yeah, there is a point where it does become too much. Like, Fandy, are you Mythic rating now?
I'm casually doing Mizoth Prog right now with a bunch of friends.
Oh my god.
Just want to get it done before Cutting Edge goes away.
You get them out?
It's like, not, well, I don't know. Probably not get them out, but
why
I want to get Cutting Edge. Because I don't have, I can't just be like, yo, give me this, yoink, you know?
You can. Like,
hey, let me get that. Let me get that.
You've gotta cash that shit in.
They don't simp for me. Let's be real. They're like, I guess we can bring Fandy, you know?
Yeah, that's about right.
We'll make room for her, I guess.
Okay, well, I mean, you'll win the role on the mount. Don't worry about it. There's 2 of them anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I actually, really quick, before we completely move away from it. Yeah. Like, yeah. This is the one thing that I want to, while we're talking about mounts, and before we kind of put a bow on PvP for now, there's a big announcement. I actually don't know how I feel about it. Like, just walking into this right now, I have no idea how I feel about it. I'm really curious how you guys feel about it. Asmon, you can start. Gladiator mounts, account-wide in Shadowlands.
I'm pissed, man. SSDS is gonna be able to beat me in mount-offs now. Like, that's the only thing, because like I have all my gladiator mounts on one character, whereas like a lot of these like multi-classing gladiator guys, they have like 8 different gladiator mounts more than me, but they have them all assorted on different characters. But now, like, I'm gonna have to make sure that I work even harder because PvP is gonna have such a big advantage in my mount-offs. Like, that's actually the only thing that I care about. Like, I don't even care about the I don't like the I don't know, like, I see why they made them account-wide. I think it's probably better that they're account-wide versus character-specific. Because, like, somebody...
What do you think, Fandy?
Yeah,
I mean, I think the only people that are upset over it were people that, like, went and, had multiple of, like, the same class so they could have glad mounts on all of them. I think it's a good thing. I don't see why anybody would be, like, too upset over it unless they are, like, a multi-class glad.
I don't know if it'll go. I don't know. I actually genuinely don't know, because you bring up a good point. I don't know if it's going to retroactively affect the mounts that you have or not.
It will.
It will?
I think it will, yeah. I
kind of feel like it shouldn't retroactively affect the mounts for the reason that Fandy said.
The only thing that makes me mad is, like, I would have played Arena on, like, an OP class back in, like, Wrath if I knew I could get Gladiator and have that mount forever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm dog shit on my Warrior, right? So I'd have to play an OP class to balance it out. But I would have probably gotten it once or twice. And I wish I'd have known that, man. Like, it sucks, but there it is.
See, coming into this now, like, I genuinely, coming into this, did not have an opinion. On it. I wasn't sure, and I really wanted to talk about it. And now I think the only thing I would like to see is the old ones not get affected, because you didn't have the information. It seems like it should almost be a feat of strength. And then moving forward, if they're account wide, I think that will. Oh, I shouldn't have said coming. I like your chat, Zach.
It's like if I say,
I said coming into.
I'm like, I wanted like my friend, like, you know, I'm like, yeah, I have this guy that's my friend, and then they're spamming fucking gotchi base on it. It's like, wait, no, like, it's just my friend, like, and then now it's like weird because now I'm like defending that it's not gay, and they're like spamming and like making it weird. Like, this is what
Dude,
they do,
I mean,
man.
they keep trying to take that one story about the one time when we were in Texas and we were all in that bed.
Yeah.
They keep trying to make that in. Also, why do you keep telling this stupid story about taking English 1 every single year to meet freshman girls? I don't know which one of your friends fucking did it, but every time you tell that story, people start DMing me. It was you, Papi Laugh. It was you.
You're just mad you didn't think of it.
I'm just mad they won't stop DMing me.
Yeah,
Thinking
of
that it's
course.
me. Like they keep like I was in your chat. I was trying to debate you to look at this one tweet, and
Okay.
you were telling the story. Do you want to see it? I'll actually show it to you right now.
Okay.
It was really funny. I thought I was gonna get you with it, dude. But you were telling the story, and like I hadn't even said anything in chat yet, and people are going like, "It was Rich."
Fandy,
like,
is
what
that a
an
cat?
idiot.
Yeah.
Can I see
You
this
want to
cat?
see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the tweet I tried to get you with. Oh,
Wow.
So cute.
Wow.
I've never had a cat or petted a cat in my entire life.
Wait, really?
Mm-hmm.
You've never petted? You're telling me you've never petted a cat in your whole life?
Nope. I've looked at a few and I've respected them, but never touched one. Like I was like, I get it. Like, good for you. They kind of scare me a little bit.
Because they have claws?
Yeah, they seem vicious to me.
Fandy, is he vicious?
No. Not really. The only thing he does is like pounce on the sheets when you're trying to sleep. If you like move underneath the sheets, he's like sees it. He's like.
Oh,
they have
so like
strong
you move
hunting
your leg,
instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I appreciate cats. Like I think that they're cool, and more in my life, I feel like I've wanted to like try to like befriend a cat.
you want to have a relationship with a cat?
No.
Is this
be
why
careful,
you like
dude.
playing Volpira?
Dude, I do not, dude. We're not on a
weird.
stuff podcast right now. Like this is not like.
I said Volpira, not Morgan.
Dude.
Werewolves, dude.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Teen Wolf, man, Teen Wolf. Let me tell you. Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm kind of scared of cats. Like no joke.
I feel the same way, kind of about like large dogs that make me a little bit uncomfortable, you know? Like, I don't know, man. I can see what you're saying. I get it. Okay, well, I don't know. I'm hoping that, I've seen a lot of the mounts in Shadowlands, by the way, are fucking badass. Like, I'm so happy about the new mounts. And I'm worried that, like, they're going to have too many Covenant-specific ones. There's not going to be enough content for me for Shadowlands. I'm very worried about that.
I mean, they'll probably add something, random RNG, to get mounts and stuff that
Don't give them any
have
ideas.
lots of fun with,
Yeah, it's gonna. Well, actually, that's great because like the thing is, like all of the ones you have to farm out, like I finished that content really fast, but the random RNG ones, those are content for years because I didn't get them. There it is.
I feel like they've done a really good job with. It seems like they've made a lot of mounts and it hasn't just been a shitload of tints, right? I really don't like when the content is unlocking a lot of tints. That's always been something that's kind of bugged me because it doesn't feel like you're really unlocking content. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like they've really matched, and there's obviously a lot more to be seen, but they've really matched the feel of the zones with a lot of the rewards in the zones, which I think feels good, which is also one of the reasons I'm worried about Covenants, right? Because you don't get to experience all of that on one character. And I think that it's reasonable that somebody might want to play the entire thing with alts, and get a different experience on every single alt. But also, there are definitely certain players who only want to play one main. Fandy, I feel like you've been alting more recently, right?
Yeah, I have a fully paladin and a hunter right now. So it's the only two, though. I'm gonna be honest with you. Keeping up with alts and BFA is a little rough. I started on a priest, but I don't have any of the essences, so I'm just kind of like, and I have to do visions for cloak and stuff, and I just don't know if, I don't know. I might do it, but we'll see.
Would you 20 hours a week to keep up with it?
Yeah.
Would you feel like you would want to alt more if it was easier? Like, do you think that that's something that would have you play the game more, or do you not really care about how easy it is to alt?
I actually personally like alts a lot because I like experiencing like the game in different ways. So, you know, I like DPSing, but I also like healing, you know? So I've always enjoyed like playing alts. I did a lot of it in like Cataclysm, for example. I played like 6 different characters, all had like, you know, raid gear and stuff. They were all pretty geared, but like now I think it was a little bit more alt friendly from the beginning. I probably would have more, but I don't know, it's just not been the easiest alt expansion for sure.
I used to have a bunch of alts too. I don't play any alts anymore. Like, I don't even care about them because I think to myself, I'm like, I've got to get corruption. I've got to get Azurite. Like, the only thing that like to make me not want to do an alt is I just think of doing dailies on the alt. And that's it. I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore. Completely finished. I kind of worry about that though. Like, I'm worried in like Shadowlands there's going to be more things that make the game alt unfriendly, and I think that's probably one of my biggest concerns, because like usually alts become content, you know, like for you, Fandy, like playing 2 characters probably gives you twice as much stuff to do, and in BFA that's like what, 60 hours a week that you have to do to keep up with them. It's insane.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody agrees you obviously want stuff to do in the game. I feel like there's a fear though of having situations when you can beat the game. At least it seems like that, because if you beat the game, maybe you unsub for a month or 2. Do we think that it is more healthy for the longevity of the game to have alts be more accessible to potentially fill in those content gaps and have people play that like through another alt, through the same content, enjoy it? Like you said, Fandy, it's kind of a different lens, a different experience in which you get to experience the game. Do we think that that is better, even though some people might forego it and actually stop playing for a little while for the longevity of the game? Or do we think that some of these systems should exist that just keep everybody running through a maze, if you will, for as long as possible?
I mean, I think having it be more alt-friendly is just good all around, because then people will say, you know, well, it sucks. I'd like to play another character, but it just feels like, you know, all of my power is locked behind all this time-gated stuff. You know, I'm like glad that they added like echoes for essences, because I'm gonna be honest, like I would just not do it at all. If I had to get like, if I had to do Mechagon again or like Nazjatar again, I would probably just not play at all. But I mean, I think just having it be more alt friendly is never a bad thing at all. So
I agree with that.
I'll probably have like four characters, and I'm gonna do like a covenant on every character, like a different one on every character.
I've never in my entire time playing WoW gotten to the point where it's felt hopeless to actually achieve my goals, to the point that I've just given up on the goals. Like, I feel like it seemed much easier to get Warglaves than it is to just get gear. And the RNG for Warglaves dropping is easy. Like, even, look, Asmon hasn't gotten Mail Muncher. Everybody loves to meme it.
I didn't know that. Thanks for bringing that up.
But the thing is it's not ridiculous to keep on trying, right? Because you know what the drop chance of Mail Muncher is. The drop chance doesn't change. There's not an RNG on top of that RNG on top of that RNG on top of that RNG. You click the mailbox, you're going to get it or you're not going to get it. And when you look at a lot of the gearing, it's just this chain of random events that need to happen for you to get the right piece that a human brain can't forecast when you're going to be able to get the upgrades. And then a lot of the stuff that is deterministic, it's so far off that you're like making like a 5-year plan on how you're going to get your gear. It's like, it just is really hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel with the way that it's currently set up. And I think for me, it's caused me to go like, you know what? I'm just going to like play Minecraft or play something else. And I've never really felt that way before.
Or do you think it's too hard to get gear?
I think it's a joke to get gear now.
Or I don't know what you're saying.
It was, now it's a lot easier, but like to actually look at best in slot gear and figure out how you were going to get it, it was really hard to predict because of the RNG and because of the way that it was laid out. Like, it wasn't go into the raid, get a piece of loot, I'm done. And I also feel like that's why raid participation's down.
Well, it's here's why raid participation's down. It's because the gear from raid sucks. It's dog shit. So you do the raid, and you get 10 items. You get the same gear that you get for AFKing through a 15. Oh wow, what a great incentive. You know what the gear should be from the Mythic raid? 485 across the board. Up at a 485, and you're gonna see a lot more people doing the Mythic raids. The fact
on Carapace and Azoth.
Oh yeah, it's only for Carapace and Azoth, exactly. And it should be for all the raids. You have to make it give good gear, or who the fuck is gonna dedicate 4 hours a night to playing with a bunch of nerds on Discord doing a raid? There's no way you would do that. Like, nobody in their right mind would deal with that bullshit. But for whatever reason, Blizzard thinks that they should make other things comparable.
There is a lot of good gear in the raid that's really easy to pug, right? And then
not
you
really,
all of a sudden,
dude. Like, you've got to find fucking 20 people to do that. Like, think about it like this: you do 20 fucking people to do a Mythic raid. You have 2 clowns on Skitra that are doing it wrong. 1 clown on Mount that keeps dying because he can't stop attacking because he wants to get his 74 parse because his gear sucks and he's just trying to do his best so he won't get kicked out of the raid. Or you're sitting there wiping on Rathian because somebody doesn't understand that they're not supposed to get too many stacks.
But you do that. You do that for 2 weeks. Like, you pug the first 3.
Yeah.
Like, it's really not that difficult. You pug the first 3, and you probably got your chase piece off of those first 3.
Okay.
Right?
Let's assume that you're right. Then why do number 4? Why do number 7?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yep.
We're agreeing. We're just like coming at it from a different angle. Like, the weird dynamic is like the Skitra bow, for example, for hunters. Big chase piece. You go in, you pug it, and then yes, there are 2 really good pieces for hunters off of the last 2 bosses, but those bosses are so much more difficult to do that you just go, it's not really worth my time. In a lot of cases, at least that's how I kind of felt about the last 2 bosses and actually progressing on the last 2.
I've always thought, I know this might make me sound like an elitist or whatever, like old school player, I think Raid should just give the best gear. Mythic Raid, best gear, period, by a mile. It's the biggest investment of time. Second only to Gladiator gear.
15s are only capped at 465 unless it's out of the weekly chest, so...
You should have to do 20s.
I mean, hey, I'm cool doing 20s. That doesn't matter to me. I'll probably still do them, but... I don't know. I like having something else to do that, you know, I might get an upgrade in, like doing Mythic Plus, because, like, I only raid 2 days a week. What am I supposed to do the rest of the week? I don't PvP. I'm terrible at it, so...
Farm mounts.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot. I don't have the male muncher either, Asmon, don't worry.
See, Rich, it's not just me.
Oh, dude, I'm like, I have very few mounts right now, which is, I still can't get invincible. I've been trying really hard.
Oh, imagine not having invincible, Jesus.
I actually,
good.
I subtly have the worst luck with that mount. I've done it on every single character for years now. Like, I've obviously missed a few weeks, I've missed a few runs, but I just can't get it. I really cannot get that mount. I do want to talk about one final thing in the current expansion, and then really start to look ahead at the beta even more.
Yeah.
Horrific Visions, the madness effects got nerfed.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that?
Thank God. Leaden Foot was just really annoying. It wasn't difficult. It was just annoying as fuck. Or splitting personality. I hated that one too, because like you had to move out of something and you're in Stormwind and you're in an alleyway, and a mob has like a purple thing you gotta get the fuck out of, but you can't because you split personality and you just have it's not. I don't know.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, like the mechanics suck. What I said on the post about this from Wowhead is just in time. Okay? Like, why is it that after everybody has a 15 cloak with 100 corruption resistance, we see these nerfs? Like, why didn't this happen like fucking 3 months ago? This is one thing that I want to see happen more in Shadowlands is I don't want to beta test the game whenever it comes out. And it's like if they want to make the game functional and playable and more enjoyable to play, then I think they need to do that shit earlier. Because split personality, so like y'all know whenever you're about to go up to Rexar and you deal with those fucking bugs.
Yep.
I just do the skip.
So you get knocked back, and then the knockback hits you into split personality. And then after split personality goes away, then you have the purple thing that spawns underneath you that's the fear. Then you get feared for 3 seconds. Fear ends, and then the buff from all the bugs stacks up to 5, and now you're fucking stunned. So then by the time you get all the way out of that, then you're dead. Like, you're getting comboed, like, better than a 3K rated arena team on horrific visions sometimes. It's insane. Like, generally not being able to play your character is not enjoyable, right? And I don't really like leaden foot. Like, running after that mage guy in Stormwind, fuck that. Fuck that. And then also on top of that, then you're stuck in combat. Like, you finish combat, and you're just sitting there with 17 stacks, and you're like, okay, now what? You just have to sit there and wait. I hate it, man. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm a pretty calm person, and not many things really tend to get me upset. I'm not saying that the affixes have pushed me over the edge before, but I definitely find them slightly. No, they're slightly annoying. I don't really have fun doing them. I find them a little bit annoying, but like I'm not gonna like lose my job over it, right? Like, they're not that bad. I do think though that affixes overall have taken this place where they've been just kind of an annoyance in the game, not necessarily just a challenge. And when we talk about Mythic Plus, what are we seeing with the current dungeons right now? Fandy, you've spent way more time inside the dungeons than we did. Do these dungeons feel like they're designed in a very different way than what we saw?
Before we talk about, there's a skip for Rexar, Fandy?
Yeah, when you kill Misha, if you go to the left, you just run through the dark area, and you can just go straight to Rexar and you skip all the bugs.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't have to do the bugs. I mean, you can if you want mementos, but...
Okay.
You can just skip the whole thing, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Probably
you take damage, but if you just like you could run through all the way, you'll be at like 10% when you get out, but you just eat for Rexar.
Yeah, you didn't know that, Asmon?
Yeah, what you mean?
I can't do that, guys, because there's a mailbox there. I have to. Yeah.
We only have to do a couple of them. The ones by the totem and then the ones in front of the bank.
Yeah, well, the next time I open the mailbox, I'm going to get it anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm not going to need to worry. By the time I get to Rexar, I already have them out. It's not a big deal. So yeah, about the dungeons in Shadowlands. Obviously, has there been more of a divergence of what the I don't know, like the strategy, the meta of like BFA dungeons, or do you feel like it's about the same compared to Legion? Where are you at?
It's a little bit hard to say because the scaling is off. The 10s were like really easy. There was which one did we do? It was the Revendreth dungeon. And the second boss was like insanely difficult, but the rest of them were like a cakewalk. Obviously, they didn't have affixes though, so it might just seem a little bit easier. But it's a little bit hard to say until they actually do add like the affixes and how that comes into play with like dealing with the different boss mechanics and the scaling. Obviously, it's just a little.
How do you feel about the affixes?
I hate bolstering. That's like the one I hate the most, to be honest with you. I did that last week, and it was just not fun having stuff like one-shot you, like a really bolstered big boy and Siege of Borealis just one-shotting you, because, you know, but I don't mind them necessarily, but I would like to see some different ones. I don't want to go into Shadowlands seeing the same affixes I've seen for, like, the last 2 expansions.
I want some new shit, too. I want teaming. Like, I always want teaming. I like that, because that means I get to do more damage. It's like it's a big pack of mobs and I get to fucking AoE them all down. It's awesome. And it feels good. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I want to see. And it's like if it scales infinitely, this is what Rich said too, right? Like, why not just make them positive affixes instead? It's like that's kind of how Torghast is. And it's like, imagine if Torghast, every single ball that you clicked on lowered your damage. That would make Torghast suck. and you had to pick on which one it was going to lower your damage. So I feel like that's a big reason why, I don't know, like I think Torghast will be a lot more fun to Mythic Plus for that one reason. And yeah, I guess there is the AoE cap, that is true. But I don't know, man. Like, I'd like to see a lot more affixes too. I think they're kind of boring. And I like the seasonal affixes though. I think those are cool.
Yeah, I agree. I do think with positive affixes though, like nobody's doing +20s for gear and like pushing keys and stuff for gear. They're doing it, you know, to have it harder and more difficult and to try to like push to see like just how far they go. And I don't know if like having positive affixes would really, I feel like that would be a little bit counterproductive because I mean there's no point really doing anything over 115 a week.
Well, the thing is though, is if it is an infinitely scaling system, you would just scale further. I think the thing with positive affixes, because I agree, right? That one of the cool things about Mythic Plus is people wanting to push them further and further. I don't think that the affixes really creates very interesting gameplay personally, right? Like this is my personal opinion. I would love to see stuff where people are actually more excited to push on certain weeks because they enjoy the affix and they're actually having fun playing the game instead of enjoying pushing during an affix because it's not as annoying as the other ones. Even if it does allow people to push further because the affixes allow you to do that, I think that that's more fun personally. I think that you could still have people pushing for very high keys, obviously.
Well, it's the red velvet room analogy that I've used before. You know, I think you've probably heard that one. And yeah, that's
what... No, I actually haven't. Sorry.
That's my favorite comparison he's made.
Okay, so
I really only listen to your stream when McConnell's talking. What's the...
So basically, I always looked at the two Mythic Plus affixes as this. You get led down a dark hallway, down a dark stairway with a blindfold on, and they take you into a room, and they take the blindfold off. And the room has red velvet walls all over it, and on every single wall is different sized and different shaped dildos. And they say, pick two. And that's the Mythic Plus affix combination for every single week. Which way are you gonna get fucked this week?
Velvet, you say?
Red velvet walls. That's right. And I would imagine it being very dimly lit, and you know, like the, yeah. No, I visualize this a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I've thought about it a lot. Yeah. Well, anyway. So no, I think that obviously they should fix the Mythic Plus affixes too. Like, I don't like the. I think bolstering sucks. I think that necrotic kind of sucks. I only like teaming. That's the only one that I like because it makes me do more damage. I don't care about any of the other affixes, period. I think the other ones suck. Raging is okay. I think raging is okay.
Raging's, you can just dispel. I think if you have like Spirit Shock, you know, that ability I taught you, Rich? That just takes care of that one, you know?
Shift 7.
Yeah.
Shift 7? Like, what are you, like an NBA player? Like, how's your hand that big to where you can hit Shift 7?
I use a mouse.
Oh, it's button 7. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, mouse button shift, mouse button 7. 7.
I was about to say.
It's a good number,
7.
dude. Every time I use that ability, I chuckle. It's a funny number. I like 7 a lot.
Yeah,
you know what else I kind of do like? Rune carving. We've learned a lot more about the rune carving system. And we talked, obviously, about corruptions. We talked about some of this gear progression that we do have in the game right now. How do you guys feel about rune carving as a gear progression system?
Go ahead.
I like it. It's kind of gives you like the feeling of Legion legendaries, but being able to pick what you get instead of it being RNG and like hoping, you know, you got the legendary that your class really needed, and just have a lot more like control over that.
Yeah, that's kind of the same way with me. Like, I mean, I thought that's what Legion legendaries were going to be. Like, whenever they first announced them and they said that they'd be targetable, I assumed that this was going to be the system. And then it didn't even really happen. And so, yeah, I'm very happy about that. I think the effects are pretty cool. I want to see them even more. I want to see the gear to be even more exciting. Like, I want to see more effects, more bonuses, more kinds of cool shit that you can do with your character. The fact is that, like, one thing that was really cool about Legion is that you had all of these different levels of, like, customization for your character. And now with BFA, you don't really have as many. I guess like now you have corruptions, which are kind of good, but they also have obviously a very bad side too. But going into Shadowlands, I'd like to see like more affixes that you can put on your gear, more different ways that you can customize your stuff for different situations. I think that'd be really fun. So I'm happy.
I think it might be remedied once they start bringing back tier sets, and then you have those bonuses along with legendaries and things like that as well.
Yeah.
I wonder if you're... Actually, I'm unsure about it right now because you're actually, this is like a build your own legendary. I feel like that's one of the things that not many people have really talked about with rune crafting because a lot of it was newer. I feel like a lot of people in the community are still like, oh yeah, you're just going about it and you pick your own legendary and there it is. You got your legendary, you unlock it and that's that. But really how it does work is what we know is you get a base item, then you pick a legendary power, and for the Build-A-Bear, you throw on the legendary power, then you actually pick the secondary stats as well, and you're creating the whole item. I wonder what will fall into the base item. I know in the blue post, it said that the base item was going to be created by professions, but I wonder if it's going to be a thing where at any point you could put these legendary powers just on a piece of gear, almost how corruptions work. Like if they're thinking about having the system move in that direction.
Isn't that what the legendary stuff in Torghast is, or
I think that's just like it's energy to make the legendary itself, but I don't know how you unlock the powers. I think that's actually a good question. I don't know. I hope they have like different ways of doing it, kind of like essences in a way, where like if you do one thing, you unlock this power, you do something else, you unlock that power. I've always liked the idea of playing the whole game to get all the stuff out of the game. And I know it's like not really a very popular opinion, but that's always the way that I've liked it.
So it says, I'm reading a blue post right now. To start, there will be an allotment of 4 legendary powers for each base class and 4 for each spec. In addition to that, there will be a generic pool of legendary powers available to all classes. Not all classes currently have their legendary powers implemented. We expect to get all of the class powers in place over the next few weeks. In the coming weeks, we are planning on adding a system to allow players to upgrade the item level of their legendary armor through the Rune Carver. If they've imbued a lower item level piece, they'll be able to collect more materials from Torghast and professions instead of having to imbue a brand new piece of armor. That's what we know right now about rune carving.
It certainly sounds better than opening a box and getting the one that you didn't want. Okay, remember getting Pride as at the beginning of the expansion and be in Legion, and it's just like, okay, great. Now, where's the nearest? Like, I can't even make a joke about that anymore, right? But like, you're pissed off. Okay, you're really, really mad, and then you could be like me on the other side, and I got my 2 best in slot legendaries in Emerald Nightmare, and I dumpstered the fuck out of people on the meters. Why? Because I got lucky. And hey, that's great. But I'm glad that they're giving people a more deterministic way of doing it. I know, actually, Fandy, last time we played together, I think we did Torghast. That was a disaster. I remember, like, I saw you guys. Well, we went in. It was like, yeah, Rich and Fandy. So this is a story, right? So Rich and Fandy, they're doing Torghast, and I'm watching them do it on Rich's stream. And you know how I told you guys earlier on my stream, I was like, I'll like watch like the Scuffed podcast and I'll see them saying something dumb and I'll like feel that I have to go on there and talk about it. This is the same exact thing. And I saw them like, man, I've got to help these guys. Like, this is fucking embarrassing, right? And
You're having a bad time.
Yeah, and then I go in there and then somehow I made it worse. Like somehow we did even worse with me being there.
Okay, and it was one of those things, like we got unlucky and we were, instead of just going, okay, let's re-roll and just get a new run, we were like, we're gonna beat it. And there were like 8 sentinels on one floor. It was not our fault at all. But you know what? If you realized nobody got angry. It's a little bit different than Visions. Just saying.
I was mad. Like I was mad. Like honestly, like you guarantee, like if I die in a video game, I'm fucking mad. Like it doesn't matter like if I'm playing for fun or not. Like I'm mad 100%. Like well, that's the last time I did Torghast though. Like Fandy, have you done Torghast more recently?
No, I haven't done it in like beta or anything like that. I'm pretty sure I think that was the last time.
Well, what do you think about it? Yeah, I don't blame you.
I feel like it was a little bit weird when we did it because I think they hadn't really like, you started on like a higher level, but you didn't have any of the what are they called?
The powers, the anima powers.
The powers. Yeah, you didn't have any of those. So I feel like once you're at that level of the tower, you already have a couple of them. So a lot of it was a little bit harder than it should have been. Because like there is no way. Some of that, like the stuff that we did, was literally impossible.
Well, you
like,
just
there's
spawn
no
in
way.
and there's 3 tower guardians. It's like, okay, well,
Yeah,
fuck me.
there's literally no way that we could have done it. I'm a little bit interested to see because I'm sure they're probably going to be tweaking it along the way. I do think it's going to be something that's fun, and there's going to be like the mandatory that you have to do for the legendary stuff, and then there's going to be like the one where you climb the tower and kind of see how far you can go for the people who want to do that kind of stuff, and it's going to be like cosmetics and stuff, right?
It better be. Like I saw that. You see that one mount, the shadow dragon?
No.
Okay, well,
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I've been keeping up on this shit.
Shadow Dragon.
Yeah, it's in beta right now. You just look at the unlearned mounts, you're gonna find it. And I was so happy whenever I saw that because I bet that's gonna come out of Torghast because it looks like it would. And I love the idea of Torghast. I think Torghast has the potential to be like how people would say they play the game for arena or they play the game for RBGs back in the day. I think Torghast could be that thing that people play the game for now. The same as Mythic Plus is now for people too. Like people play the game just for Mythic Plus now.
Okay, a lot. I think I'm curious if you guys agree with me. The thing that got me so excited about Torghast was usually when you play on the alpha. I'm assuming that you guys are going to agree, and I apologize if you don't. I feel like you play for a little bit, and you're like, man, there really isn't a point, right? Like I'm leveling a character that's not real. I'm like, why am I doing this? In Torghast, I kept playing because I was having fun, and it's very rare to just straight up have fun when there's no progression at all. I think a lot of people play WoW, and Preach and I always go back and forth about this, right? And it's usually a pretty good conversation, even when we have it off stream. I think we enjoy having a conversation. Usually, people who play WoW, there are a lot of people who play WoW. Who knows how many, but there's something in them as gamers where they enjoy progressing, whether it's through level, whether it's through gear, whether it's doing harder and harder content in Mythic Plus, whether it's getting down a boss that you've never gotten down before. Progression feels good in WoW, and it's always an incredible thing. In Torghast, I went in there and I was like, man, I'm just having the time of my life. I don't care what happens. I'm excited to see the random stuff that comes along. And if that exists and they're able to build on that system in the right way, I feel like I might actually have fun playing WoW again, which it's been a little while since I've just had that pure fun without actually caring about what I'm doing.
I agree. I mean, hopefully they don't make it like super mandatory because people are going to be a bit resentful if they feel like they have to run Torghast constantly. So I think if they have like, the one that you do for legendaries and then the one where you can kind of like push and see how far you can go that has like really cool like cosmetic stuff, then it doesn't feel like it's so much of a chore to have to, climb the fucking tower every single week. But I think it'll definitely be fun because it's going to be there the entire expansion. So definitely going to have to keep it feeling fresh or people probably just might not do it. Because, I mean, you like roguelikes. A lot of people might not,
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that, right? Like, I feel like one of the things that I would definitely be to build on that idea that I think it's a really good point to bring up, Fandy, is the idea of WoW taking other games that are successful and then forcing them into the game in worse versions. And it's like, why would I play your shitty version of this game instead of just playing that other game? It's like they threw in a
Pokemon.
bullshit auto battler. They threw in shit Pokemon. They threw in all these shitty versions of games. And it's like, wait, why are you making it so when I sit down to play WoW, I can't play WoW because I have to play a shitty version of the other game when I could just play WoW and then play the good version of the other game? Like, dude, shit Pokemon and shit auto battlers, and it looks like the shit auto battlers are actually going to be important.
I think they said they weren't gonna make it like super necessary in order for like power progression.
I think those.
That's what I think they did.
I'm completely okay with that. Like, I don't know if this makes me like a loser or something, but like if they want to have me do like some weird ass thing where I have to collect all my followers and make them learn special spells, like that's fine with me. I don't care. I want the game to be good. Like I just want the classes to be good, and I want there to be like hard content that I can go after, and then whenever I beat the hard content, I get the best gear in the game. Like that's all I give a shit about. But like what Rich is saying, like, yeah, you're totally right. They're taking, like, this is the worst thing that I hate whenever Blizzard does this. They say, oh, well, every other MMO does this, so we should do it too. Well, hey, Blizzard, guess what? Every other MMO fucking sucks. So why are you doing that?
That hurts them in other ways, though, too, because I think that they're scared to do things that other MMOs have done because they go, well, this MMO sucks, right? And I think that is something that potentially exists. Like when you look at ESO, there are a lot of things about ESO that I don't like, but there are some things about ESO that work. And I don't think that the things that might even work broadly in the genre in ESO are taken seriously because it's really easy to just go, haha, dead game, WoW forever. And I don't necessarily think that that's healthy. I think probably, I haven't played BDO, but it probably has things like that. Final Fantasy, I mean, yeah, it's a weeb game, but it probably has some good stuff in there as well. I think that there are ways, though, to implement side games into the game in a good way. The question is, how much does it distract from the core of the game? And is it actually worth the distraction, or is it just a completely flat experience that isn't interesting? Like, I like auto battlers. One of the reasons I think auto battlers are really fun is because of the crazy stuff that can happen, right? Like all of a sudden you, with a little bit of knowledge and putting in a little bit of time, you realize if you go for this one build, you can create an invincible unit. Is that going to be something that actually exists in this tabletop mission in the mobile game? And if it does, wow, that might actually be fun to play. But now how distracting is it going to be from the main game for people who don't want to engage in that content?
What it is it's fucking like they don't want it to be fucking incentivized. Like in WoD, where you had to level up those followers, because if you didn't, you weren't going to get your ring, and if you didn't get your ring, you just suck. Okay, you just suck. And so it's the same with the gear. Like I'm okay with this kind of stuff. It's like the equivalent of if they said, well, you know what, you have to have 10 level 25 pets in order to enter the raid on Mythic. It's like, you know what? No, I don't think so. That's stupid. That's kind of where I'm at, is that I feel like a lot of those kinds of changes, I'm not a fan of that. And just making it its own enclosed thing that maybe you can get a few little bonuses here and there. Like I think pet battles are a great example of how much I want the auto battle or mission thing to play in the game, right? Maybe I get an extra 100 experience a day. Who gives a shit about that? And like you do that, you get a little bit more experience. Who cares? But that's it. I don't want to see gear come out of it, and like progression gear, like competitive gear, come out of it.
Pet battles. The thing with pet battles, Fanny, I'm curious how you feel about this. I don't mind pet battles because every now and then I'm like, you know what? I might do it, and I don't have to, so I don't end up doing it pretty much ever. But like you're like, oh man, you know, I could get maybe something if I did do it. Like it does very much feel like extra, and it's somewhat out of the way. So pet battles don't bother me that much. And also like, I don't know, I've watched Asmon do it before, and I'm like, wait, that actually kind of looks like he's having fun.
The only time I've really done pet battles, I think, was for, because there's like a daily where you get extra rep, and when I was trying to like grind to Revere to get like the better essence, I think it was like one of the newer ones, like Unwavering Ward or something like that. It's really the only time I did pet battles. I don't really necessarily care for it too much, but I think, you know, having like that little extra that is like somewhat of an incentive, but like not necessary, is like a good thing. Because there's some people who love pet battles. It's what they do, collect pets, do that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it's like what parents do after they like pick up their kids from school. I'm pretty sure. Like if my parents started playing WoW, they would pet battle and they'd beat Asmon, right?
No, they wouldn't. Nobody can beat me in a pet battle. Like I have an elite team of three battle hardened champions, and I go into pet battles and I win. I have like a 95% win ratio.
And you know, sure. I actually do believe you. I actually believe that.
That's good.
You know,
I have a video of it.
I can tell by the other aspects of your game that you definitely weren't focused on playing the game in any other way. So I'm sure that you used all of that energy to get good at that.
Don't come into my arena. Don't you come into my arena? I'll beat you with these pet battles. I know every ability, every pet. Like, there's no way I'll predict what you're gonna do. Like, I'm so good at that.
Well, here's the thing with pet battles though. I know that a lot of people were annoyed with the rep grind and feeling like they needed to have pet battles for the rep grind. I don't think the pet battles were the problem in that. I think that the rep grind sucked, period, and that was the bigger problem, not the pet battles.
I don't think it was a problem, period. I think it was completely fine.
I don't mind rep grinds. There has to be some grinds.
I don't mind all rep grinds. Like, I don't mind all rep grinds, but I do think that there were some bad ones this time around. I know a lot of people don't like Pathfinder, but I'm actually really okay with Pathfinder.
What do you think about Pathfinder, Fandy? You want to see Pathfinder again?
I don't mind it, to be honest with you. It's kind of like a pain in the ass to people who maybe are coming back and have to unlock it, but if you play through the game, do like the zones like you have to. Once Pathfinder comes out, you pretty much have all of the requirements for it anyway. And I mean, they do want you to like see all of the zones that Shadowlands is fucking beautiful. If you're just flying over everything, you don't even get to really take all of that in, you know, if you're just flying over everything and it's just there from the start, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that they need to really make a concerted effort to make zones designed so you feel like you get more out of a zone once you have flying, kind of like how it felt in Wrath of the Lich King. I do think that Pathfinder could be updated. Like, I think that they can add some more interesting components to it. I do agree with you, though. It really does feel like for a lot of players, it's going to be content. Isn't necessarily the most fun content if they are really behind, but for a lot of players, it's like, okay, I already pretty much have it, and there's maybe one thing left on the checklist I'm going to do to actually to unlock it. I think that they could revamp it a little bit and add some more interesting stuff to it. And Zach, the one thing I will say about reps, I don't think that any reps should straight up be time gated, personally. I'm okay with reputations having the big bursts if you just wait every week. Like, oh yeah, if you wait for this event, it's going to be way easier, and over 3 weeks you're going to get it, and then you're done. But I feel like you should have the ability to just be like, I'm gonna spurg out and I'm just gonna get all this stuff and just like keep grinding mobs and actually be able to grind rep that way. I feel like some people might disagree with me on that, but I really would rather sometimes be gated by how much effort I want to put in instead of just always being time gated.
So you want like rep tabards?
I thought like I liked rep tabards back in the day, for example. I actually don't mind contracts. I feel like contracts kind of feel cool because you make a choice and you get a little bit of a buff.
Contracts are all right.
I don't think they do quite enough. I wish that they gave you a little bit more, maybe, but as they're implemented, I do like contracts, and it makes you feel like you can do. I think any time where you feel like you're getting away with something in a game, it's really good. Because I feel like that makes you feel like you are making an interesting.
You're in control.
Exactly. Like you can, you can lose control, but you can never stop the power of my soul. That's how I like to look at things like that.
Yeah.
And And I think that when you look at different things like contracts, you feel like you're getting away with I feel like you're getting away with doing other dailies, right? You do a daily in a different zone, but you're still progressing the rep that you really need.
I like rep grinds. I think they're awesome because I like just doing the same stupid shit over and over. It's awesome. And I think the rep grinds now are too easy. They need to make more rep grinds for losers that are unemployed, and I'd have more fun playing the game. Like, for example, the Shao Hao rep for the Serpent in Timeless Isle, the Winter Saber trainers, these were fun to do. I want to see more long-form reputation grinds that grant prestige rewards that aren't necessarily power rewards. I'm not saying everybody should have to do them. I'm saying, like, if you want to have some stupid-looking mount, well, then you have to go do the Netherwind eggs or whatever. Netherwing eggs. Like, those are fun.
I just finished that.
Yeah, there you go.
Finally.
And, like, how long did that take you?
Well, I started it in high school, and then I just gave up on it. And then I just decided to do it like a month ago and finished it, so.
Okay,
Dude, that was like one of the times I feel like I felt, oh shit, I just spilled water everywhere. I'm so wet. My bad. Wait, give me a sec. What?
Oh.
It's not a big deal. Like, trust me, like, it'll just evaporate. Yeah, I don't even know why he's acting crazy about that. So yeah, I mean, did you get the Ogrilla mounts, the little the wave rays or whatever the fuck they are?
No, I haven't got those yet.
See,
I wasn't really like huge into mount collecting back then because I only really went for like mounts I really liked. So I did like the Talbucks back then, and then I started doing the Netherwing eggs, but that was before there was like cross realm zones. So grinding Netherwing eggs was way more of a pain back then. Now you could just, you know, have someone in our RP realm invite you.
yeah, and then you just collect
there.
all the eggs, and it's not even a big deal.
Yeah.
No, I remember like back in Burning Crusade, I called many people many words that would get me banned now because they took my eggs. And that was fun. Like, I used to love that. And like having more reputations like that are just like kind of completely enclosed. I feel like reps now, like reputations to me now, what they feel like is a world quest counter. It's like, okay, you have to do 230 world quests and then you get exalted and you get this stupid mount. And I'd much rather, like, one good rep that they did, like, recently, I know people call me a classic Andy in chat. One rep that they did recently that was really good was the Talon's Vengeance rep. I don't know if you guys did that one.
Which one is that?
That's how good it is. You don't even know what it is. So think about it like this. And so this is a reputation that you'd get with the these were the Falcosaurs. So you'd have to like collect these little pets.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah, and then you would turn hostile to everybody, and you would have to kill people and get like 50 rep a kill. So that was, and you could kill classic or not classic. You could kill the people that are on your server or on your faction and the other faction. So I made like a whole video about this and like how to kill people the right way, how to do it ethically, and it was really fun. It was like the Timeless Isle thing, and having reputations that are kind of off the beaten path that way. And what do you get for that rep? Whenever you finish all of it, you know what you get for it? A shitty fucking Hawkstrider that I literally cannot even usually tell the difference between the Ivory Hawkstrider and the one that drops in Magister's Terrors. Like, I can't even tell the difference, but I still loved farming for that rep so much because I was farming the tears of other players. And it felt good. Just like killing these low-level players, they're just trying to get their daily done, and like you show up and you're in like full mythic raid gear, and they're not going to get that daily done. That daily's not going to happen.
The cool thing about those birds too was it felt like there were breadcrumbs. Right? It felt like you were unraveling a mystery. It was fun. It was actually interesting. I liked that a lot. When you look back at different rep grinds that were good, that's one. And then I also think both of the dragons were good. Nether Drakes were good, and then the Mists of Pandaria, the Cloud Serpent grind was pretty okay.
Yeah.
I like things like that. Like grabbing eggs and actually getting rep. You can do it as much as you want. It's sometimes competitive, and I feel like there are a lot of stories that come out from that, right? Like you all of a sudden have like these memories of actually being able to get a node. You're farming with your friends. It gets you out in the world actually playing the game.
Yeah, exactly. Like those are the cool kind of fun reps. And like, you know, reps is like you quit the rep in high school and you come back to it like fucking 10 years later or whatever. Like that's cool. And it's like, it's a cool story because it's interesting and it's fun. I think that's really what it's about. And making reps like that, like WoD, did you guys ever farm all the reps in WoD?
I hardly played WoD, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Smart.
Good call.
Yeah.
They sucked. Like it sounded like Blizzard basically at like the last 5 minutes of they're like, you know, the game's gonna release at like 12 o'clock midnight, and it's like 11:52, and they're like interns, we need 5 new reputations, and you know they just churn that shit out. And it was like literally just killing random mobs. That's how you would get the reps from WoD. It was complete dog shit. So in Shadowlands, I hope they actually have rep grinds that are meaningful and not world quest counters. That's what I'm really hoping for, more than anything.
That seriously is a really good way to put it. I think that's one of the better ways I've heard it expressed, because at so many different points, that level of determinism is very obviously time gated, and I think that one of the things now, I don't love these hubs because they feel really recycled, but I do think that the world quest plus actually having like world quest. Wait, what are you doing? Oh god, everybody in the chat started spamming, and I was like, wait, what am I doing? That they were spamming, but Zach was playing with the stuffed animal, getting ready for FurryCon or something. The thing that was cool about this last patch was the fact that they had world quests and a daily zone side by side. And I actually feel like the back and forth of that feels really good in a lot of ways. I think it was something that we've asked for. I just think that this hub of daily quests, they were terrible daily quests, first of all. Like, the quests just weren't good. It was a reuse zone that didn't feel particularly exciting. Like, it was just lazy bad content. I'm just calling it as I see it. That was some of the laziest content I think I've ever seen, especially for an Old Gods patch when you could have actually been in the Empire and gotten to experience a new zone. Instead, they just used zones from years ago, and they are some of the worst quests ever. Really, pick up 3 chests, hit 3, like, what? Like, it was just so bad, and they're some of the worst dailies I've ever experienced.
They had the one. You guys ever do the one where it's like you've got to close the rifts? Fuck that.
Yep.
Fuck that. Like, it's so annoying. And like, you don't, where are the rifts? I don't know. You can't track them anywhere. It's like, I don't even do the dailies anymore. Like, fuck that. I don't do that.
I do enough to get my vessels, like my 1 vessel for the week.
Yeah, I just do what I like though. I like the 8.3 dailies. One thing that I think is good is the little events that happen that you can participate in, where it's like, oh, you have to kill the executor of Nazoth, or you go inside the eye in like Vale and like you click on all the things, you destroy all the stuff. That's cool. And like the little kind of vignettes that you go through, I like those. Those are awesome. But the daily quests, they're just fucking boring. Like, and also what I don't like about these dailies is that I don't like the fact that they're fucking easy. Like, everything is fucking easy now. Like, there's never like a daily quest where it gives you like 1,000 rep if you're able to kill like Nazoth on heroic or something like that. Or there's like a world boss and he's really hard to kill. Or there's like a portal that you can take and you have to fight this world boss or like a 5-man dungeon boss or something like that solo. Like, I want to see more ways like that in the game.
You know, the thing that I don't like about them, it's not necessarily the fact that it's easy or not. It's the fact that you know it's going to take up a lot of time just flying in circles looking for stuff. Which is like, I'd rather play the game, like you said, and maybe be challenged a little bit more and have my time spent that way instead of flying around in circles, looking at an add-on, trying to see where the rares spawn and trying to see where the chests spawn, or looking for a rift. I feel like the way that it spends your time is simply there to burn your time.
Yeah,
I'm not necessarily a fan of the dailies now. Lore Walker Chose seems really surprised every time Nazoth assaults, you know, the Vale. He's
never
very,
expected that.
You know, yeah, it's like week 10, and he's like, oh, he's here.
He's
so,
here again. I would have never expected him to attack again. He hasn't been here all week.
Yeah.
Must be Friday. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I'm completely fine with some of that stuff, but the dailies, I just wish that there was a way that you could basically big dick your dailies. And I don't feel like there's a way to do that anymore. It's like everybody's corralled. It doesn't matter if you're a mythic raider or like a pet battler. You're still there looking for portals. That's it. You're just sitting there looking for portals. And I'm like, man, this is too much. Like, I want to have like some more challenging dailies. I want more challenging world content. And I know that'll probably have to be instanced or phased out or something like that. And I'd be okay with that. I just want something that allows players to distinguish themselves and gives people a sense of accomplishment and challenge in the world. I feel like there's like no challenge in any world content anymore. And it's just boring.
Yeah.
Have you done the Servant of Azoth toy?
So I've wanted to do that on stream, but I haven't wanted to do it because they're just going to kill me. Like they're just gonna kill me. Like my viewers are gonna kill me, and that's it. And so I'm not gonna have to worry about that. So I will eventually get that. But yeah, I think that's great. Like imagine if you had to do Servant of the Zoth every single week. That would be cool.
Just also to touch on what you said as well.
Yeah,
I think it's just very clear with the dailies too, with how they try to use your time, that they don't want any of the progression that you have to actually impact the world. Like it feels so obvious that it's like, okay, we got to make quests that don't get easier when you get more gear, because if they get easier when you get more gear, even though you would feel like you have progression over the world that you're in, even though you'll feel like your character has progressed the way that you want it to. One of the things that used to feel good in the past, when, like you said, you could big dick the world quests, it's like, well, that'll make it cost less time for them. And I feel like the reason that you're looking for portals, and the reason that not only scaling exists, but the reason that so many of these quests you're actively looking for things instead of doing something that at any point is challenging, is to just keep people playing for as long as possible.
They just want to keep you on the hamster wheel. That's all there is to it. Did y'all play Cataclysm?
I did, yeah.
Molten Front, the best daily hub they've ever made.
I like the hippogriff that you would get for it.
Yep, I made a guide for it on my YouTube channel in 2015. I remember it very well. And I love that. So originally you'd start, and you were just like making the foray into beating back Ragnaros the Fire Lord. And so you started at the Nordrassil ruins, and you'd have to do a few quests. Maybe you'd have to kill like this stupid ass bird. Maybe you'd have to kill another stupid ass bird. And then there's a dog that you had to kill too. And you would do these quests, and you'd get enough of these tokens. And then finally, after you got enough of the tokens, the druids were like, hey, you know what? Well, now we can go into Ragnaros's main realm, the Firelands, in a different way, and we're going to establish an encampment inside of the Firelands. And there was server-wide progression, and the daily quests changed over time, and more of them became available and active as more people on the server did more parts of the dailies. It was the coolest fucking thing ever. And then you also had this point where you could choose whether you wanted to go through the fire or you wanted to go through this like weird like gauntlet thing. And you would have two different sets of dailies that you could choose from. It was so fucking fun. I loved it, man. And I'd like to see that come back for Shadowlands. I enjoyed that a lot, man.
I think they're having, like, when you do your covenant, you can focus your efforts into like one area and restoring more anima in that certain area, and then eventually I think that you're like able to unlock stuff once you do that. Maybe might be mistaken on that, but I'm pretty sure you'd like focus it into certain areas, and then you could eventually open up the entire zone once you've filtered enough anima back into the zone to like reinvigorate it. So I think like maybe they might do something similar to that.
I liked it. I love that.
That would be nice.
I thought that would be really cool. And that's one thing I'm kind of curious about is like, how do they do that with the anima? Like what you're talking about, Fandy, but like, how do they do that and then not have phasing for every single person? Because every person is going to perceive Rivendreth or Ardenweald differently. So it's almost like, it feels like the whole zone is like your garrison, where you're building up the entire zone. I think it sounds really cool, but functionally, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to pull it off.
I don't know. I just have to see like what they decide to do with it. So you would like prefer if it was like maybe like everyone in that covenant put together, you know, all of their efforts, and then it eventually unlock it for everyone, and then it wouldn't feel as phased?
I'd like both, actually. I'd like to see like the personal progression, and also like imagine that like on the region. That would actually, that would be fucking badass. So like if they had like a region-wide covenant thing where like the more people that did quests in the area would progress the covenant, that would be awesome. And yeah, it'd be like AQ. But like what happens with the bad, because there's gonna be the Dumbo covenant. Like 100% there's gonna be the Dumbo covenant. Like where and only people that go to this covenant are dumb. And
Kyrian.
Yeah. And so, yeah, 100%. And basically, like, you're gonna have like Venthyr and Maldraxxus probably up there at like fucking like 85, 95%. You've got to have like Night Fae at like 50 probably, and then you'll have Kyrian down there at 13%. So these guys can look forward to, by the time the next expansion comes out, they'll finally be able to play Shadowlands.
Okay. Also, just to say really quick, everybody in chat right now who's like speaking out against Night Fae, you are picking a losing battle.
I picked Night Fae on beta.
Well, I'm saying picking Night Fae as the idiot covenant. Like there are going to be a lot of people who play that. That's like saying that you don't like the K-pop stands on Twitter.
It's the girls' covenant. I'll just say it.
I literally just said it was my favorite one, dude.
You just saying that because girls are going to pick it?
I like
That's not true. It's like English one.
Yeah. You like what, Fandy? Sorry.
Oh, I like the bow and the mount that you get for a Night Fae. That's why I want it.
Same.
The moth?
No, it looks like kind of like a talbook, I guess.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like
with the antlers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, all right, that one's cool. I'd be fine with that. I mean, like, I don't know, like, you've got the difference, like, Rivendreth, you get to throw parties, like, Night Fae, you get a garden, okay? Like, yeah, we're going to the parties. Like, that's going to be fucking bad. I actually think the Kyrian special thing is going to be cool. Like, I like all of the, like, unique gameplay they're going to have with Covenants, honestly. I think it's going to be really fun. I just hope that they do it right and they don't make the decision like a stat-based decision. I really worry that too many people are going to make the decision off that. Like, I did a poll with my chat, and over 50% of them just said that they were going to pick whichever one, you know, whoever tells them to pick in limit or method. Which is, it's kind of disappointing to see.
Yeah. So one of the big things I do want to say, and why I feel like it was a good time to bring it up, when you talk about Firelands and everything that happened in Firelands and how it felt like you were really progressing and getting a mastery over the area, and the area changed over time because of it as well. I think that there is a real potential with how you kind of irrigate the area that you pick with anime juice. I think that there's there could be progression like that. And I don't feel like that's necessarily time gated. I feel like it's the world progressing over time, which is exciting. It felt good.
The world is growing, you know, it's like an Arden wheel. You do enough quests where you plant flowers and then a tree pops up. Feels good.
Yeah, definitely feels good when the tree pops up. Now, the thing is are they going to make some of the things with those choices fun? Because you look at making abominations, you look at going to these Venthyr parties, you look at all of these, the garden, like you mentioned. Are they just going to be a chore? And is that why you can only access one? Or is it going to be something where as a player, you really are going to want to have the ability to progress the entirety of the world and engage in all of the content, even if it is only on one character? That's what my question is. I think that none of us probably know the answer to it yet. I feel like that's what a lot of people need to focus on in the beta testing, because that comes back to the Covenant problem. Because not only are you picking power, not only are you picking for that RPG element of, oh, I want to be this. This is I'm a Venthyr in real life, like Asmon is, for example. So of course he's probably going to play something different, so he doesn't have to be that in game as well. So he can move away from fiction. So he might play. I don't know. He might play. Well, he couldn't play Night Fae either because he's a furry in real life. So maybe he'll play Kyrian. You know, him and McConnell have a lot of fun playing Kyrian. The thing is, though, are we going to want to experience absolutely everything in the game? And are we going to feel like content is just kept withheld from us because of how these covenants act? And that's one of the things I'm curious about in the coming days.
I am too. I mean, like, I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with the Preach interview tomorrow with Ian. That's going to be great. Somebody in chat, Fandy, you got the book?
Yeah,
how's
I
the
got
book?
the Shadows Rising. I just started it, so I don't know like too much about it yet.
So you don't know what happens at the end of Shadowlands yet?
Not yet, no.
Oh, it's too bad. I don't know. Like, I feel like the lore in Shadowlands is actually exciting for a lot of people. I mean, obviously it is for you. You got the book, and I want to see what's going to happen with the lore and like the jailer and everything like that. I think it's going to be really cool. I'm excited to see new stuff.
Pretty sure the book just has like the events that's leading up to Shadowlands and like how we get there. So that's pretty much like how Blizzard's been doing it with expansions. They have like a book that kind of like leads it all up and ties up like loose ends that might not necessarily see in like the game.
That's good. I really hope they can make some sense out of the fact that Bolvar got bitch made by Sylvanas. Like, I am so like that. Honestly, it's just that still is bothering me. Like, I'm still shook from that day, and it's been almost a year, man. Like, I can't believe that happened. That was some bullshit. So yeah, I'm hoping that they change some of that, but I don't know. Like, overall, like I guess like we'll get to some questions here, guys, because obviously we've already had kind of a long show. But first thing is, Fandy, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for Shadowlands?
I mean, I'm really excited. I think I'm looking forward to. It seems like they've taken a lot of the feedback. It's not all of it. You know, there's a couple of changes that I wish that they would make, but it looks like they're taking a lot of feedback and putting it into the game and like seeing like where they've gone wrong in previous expansions and trying to rectify it and like make it, I just think, a better experience overall.
I think that's pretty close. Yeah, I could kind of agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I hope that they're just like the Covenants. I feel are probably the biggest worry for me, at least, and probably for a lot of other people, that they mess up the Covenants. And if they don't mess up the Covenants, I think we're gonna have a really good expansion, 100%.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and pull this up, and we'll get some questions here. Okay, let's see here. Covenant specific content. So yeah, Fandy, you said you were gonna play. People are asking about the alts and everything. You said you're gonna level up 4 alts to play each Covenant.
Yeah. I'm probably like for my priest, I'll probably go with the Kyrian just because I feel like it fits like the class fantasy.
Yeah.
And that's why I did that with like Hunter as well as like with Night Fae. So I'll probably like just pick like a class that I feel like fits that fantasy and like have like my main, I guess, do whichever, to be honest. That's probably where I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, it's kind of the same with me. I kind of want to be able to play all 4 of them, but I also like I don't know if I'm going to level all 4 of the things and do all of that kind of stuff. Like, knowing me, like, have you ever leveled allied races?
I started on it and then I didn't finish. I'll probably finish it when they do the level revamp, because I'd actually like to see like Draenor. I didn't do all of the quests there. So when I do an allied race, I'll do like the zones that maybe I didn't do too much like in the past.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I was gonna say I hate fun. So every single allied race character I make is a Death Knight, because Death Knight start at a higher level, and I do the exact same quests every single time. So knowing myself, I'm probably just gonna pick the exact same Covenant on every single character, because I don't even care. Like, I just want to get it done. I want to do the fastest thing possible. Yeah, I clearly hate fun. So I don't know, Rich, are you gonna level up alts to do all the different Covenants?
Probably, but I like playing alts in the first place. So like I probably will just do it, and I kind of want to see everything, so I probably will. It's not like I have a job or anything, so I'll have plenty of time to actually do it. So yeah, probably.
Here's a quick one here. I don't want to ask a question, just wanted to let Rich know I've been playing for 4 months and I got invincible. Hashtag Allcraft. We'll go to the next one. Do you think Blizzard will do Twitch drops for beta access or stick to the old ways of giving keys to streamers for a raffle? I don't know. Like, I saw like how
I mean, you probably wouldn't mind it. Just farm some AFK viewers like Valorant, top of the WoW section.
It'd be okay. Could be enjoyable. I would be okay with drops, but only if everybody gets them. I don't like the idea of drops being a secret clubhouse where only the anointed are allowed to be part of it. I don't like that at all. I think that every single person streaming WoW, if you have your thing connected, they should be able to get drops. And if they don't, go ahead.
I just don't want to see our directory turn into Valorant, like with
we
people.
won't. It's not. Like, trust me, like, most of the streamers that are going to try and do that aren't even nearly half as interesting to have anybody watch them to begin with.
Yeah, but, like, imagine if people just came in and, like, started putting up the video shit like other people did and pretending to be live. That shit was
already,
so
they put that against TOS. You can't do that anymore.
Oh, really?
Like, you
okay.
literally just can't do that anymore.
Then if that doesn't happen, our Omega lol. Oh, I get it, because I'm not a streamer. Yeah, I didn't make it to the tier list either. I wish I could have at least been a dead streamer, man.
God, that was me. I was in the dead streamer.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Wait, you were a dead streamer?
Yeah, she got dead
They're like, you
streamer.
don't even stream anymore. It's like, no, I stream at like 2 a.m. when everyone's asleep. So nobody knows I stream anymore.
I didn't even make it to the list, dude.
I think it'd be a good thing probably if they ended up doing some sort of key or of drop system. It could be healthy for the viewership, but it just depends on if they want to. I mean, I think that's really all it comes down to. Depends on if they want to. I think Blizzard's always really been historically pretty slow at adapting to like social media trends and stuff, so I wouldn't exactly expect them to do that personally.
Yeah, I like don't know how. It's one of those things where all of a sudden everybody had a lot more viewers in like Valorant, for example, and it seemed really cool, and it was like, wow, this game's really hype. That game's like already dead. So I don't think it's necessarily good for the longevity of the game. Like the most recent experiment, I think, looks like a failure. Am I wrong for saying Valorant already looks dead?
I played it the other day, and maybe it's because I did pretty well. I went like 38, 33, and 8 or something like that. And I did well, and so the game's doing great. But if I have a game after that, and I have a negative kill-death ratio, the game's fucking dead.
So some people are saying false, which is great. Like I'm glad if you're enjoying the game. I just don't think that what they did necessarily promoted the most healthy ecosystem. I feel like I see Hiko still popping off. He's an incredible player and he's a good streamer. I enjoyed watching him when he's playing other games as well. Besides that, I feel like any of the tournaments that have happened, all of the tournaments have been sub 10K views. And I feel like there was a giant esports push, and I feel like that was a failure. I feel like most of the times that developers are strongly involved in esports leagues, it's usually a failure. I feel like the devs usually when you have the publisher trying to run the esports league as well, I feel like those usually go worse.
Well, it's the fact that they tried to the hype and excitement for the game wasn't organic, and it was just completely built around how much how many people are just watching it for views, or sorry, for keys. That was it. I don't know. Like, go ahead.
I don't think it was necessarily like bad marketing, because they did something really similar with like Apex when it was just like huge, and they didn't say anything, they didn't announce the game at all. It was just suddenly it just fucking popped off, and it was like, but it was like I liked Apex personally. It was like one of the only BRs that I was like invested in. I just think that Valorant was like, it was, I don't know. It's a Counter-Strike. It's really similar. It was like made with like esports in mind. I just don't think it's necessarily, it needs a lot of work, I think, in order to get to that level. And I mean, Counter-Strike is just one of the biggest as far as like tournaments go. Like, people love watching Counter-Strike tournaments, and I just don't think Valorant's at that point yet.
Also, for people who are saying like last tournament got this many views, I know for a fact that that's wrong. You just actually didn't even realize that there was a tournament today that didn't break 8K views, because I literally have been paying attention to it because I'm looking for a job right now. So I was trying to see, if I should guess that shit. So it looks like I'm not gonna. But the real thing is, though, is when you do look at a lot of these different esports that have popped up, I feel like when Asmon says organic, it really is the thing. I feel like there's this ridiculous pressure that's put on them at the beginning, and then people watch and they're like, wait, this really isn't here yet. The game can't grow on its own. And like when you look at what happened with CSGO, when you look at what happened with both of the major MOBAs that exist, they organically grew first. And then you look at, Overwatch League, you look at, this is going to be the next big esport. You got everybody loading into the lobby with TTV in their name. You got everybody being a pro before before that F was pretty funny. You have everybody being a pro though before they even gotten their beta key.
Oh,
There's
dude.
so much pressure on the initial tournaments. Dude, I got an offer.
Worst, man.
I got an offer to be a Valorant pro, by the way. I'm not gonna say by who, but I literally got an offer to be Valorant pro. I haven't played the game once.
Dude, like
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
the people future Valorant pro in Twitter profile. Like, and like now I see like they're my favorite is the ones that had that in there. Then afterwards they have now like future Hyperscape pro, and then future whatever the next fucking game is gonna be pro, and it's like there's always the next one, dude. The next one they're gonna pop off on, and I don't think Valorant's as bad as people think that it is, but it just doesn't have the replay value that I think CS:GO does, and it's just trying to fill like a niche that doesn't really exist. But we'll see how the game evolves. I think that's definitely it. But in terms of a drop system for WoW, I think, listen, I'm a little bit biased here, but I think it'd be okay. But if not,
like 300k viewers.
300k. I don't think I get that many. I don't think there's that many people that can give a shit. Okay, like Valorant was way bigger, but you know, maybe it'd be like an extra view bot of like 20k people or so. I don't know. It's hard to say. They've never done something like that before. I can just imagine them, like the forum threads about this of people feeling like they're forced to watch me, but they fucking hate me, and they're just sitting there on the forums complaining and fucking mad at
hate
Blizzard.
watchers, dude.
Yeah, well, they're hate watchers, but they have to be hate watchers because they want their beta key. That's the best part about it. I'd love that.
That was the thing that I thought felt kind of unhealthy about it, right? Like you saw people with like a shitload of viewers, and it was just like nothing was going on in their chat. And I was like, wait, what is going on? It was just having a bunch of tabs open, hoping that you got the drop, not even watching the stream at all. And I don't know if that is something that's bad for the community or if it is something that has positives to the community. It's definitely a reasonable question. I think it's a pretty good question overall.
Yeah.
So this says, oh, you actually already asked this question. Good job, dude.
Thanks.
I just hope that they do some more targeted invites, so like the people who do like Mythic get a chance to be able to like test the end game stuff that are actually gonna like play through and make sure all of that is working and going smoothly before the game comes out, and not just a bunch of people who were, you know, if they did like a drop system, which I doubt they will, but you know, it's fun to think about. Just hope that they do some more targeted invites, you know, for like people who have cutting edge or, you know, Mythic Raid and things like that. So,
less
that's
balding
where
mount
we'll really,
collectors.
yeah, that's where we'll really see like when the Covenant, you guys are worried about the Covenant system, like that's kind of like when would you find out if it's really going to be as big of a thing.
Yeah, I do think though that you definitely need to have a lot of random people as well, right? To see if they are actually having fun. Like there needs to be a decent mix of everything.
Sorry, Asmon.
It's okay.
You have a luscious head of hair. I was just kidding.
Yeah, on the sides.
Oh, you're just kidding about me having a luscious head of hair? Yeah, I know.
No.
It's fine. Yeah. Go ahead, Rich.
If Covenant abilities, this is from, that's a weird name. If Covenant abilities were swappable like talents, do you think that it would create a negative experience for players who like their choice but have other players harassing them to change to something else for the next boss trash pack dungeon?
I don't know.
I mean, that it already exists in the game. I don't think that having the talents are negative right now, because that's really the best way to look at the questions. That question, in my opinion. Do either of you guys think that the talents that we have right now are negative for the game?
Some of them are because they suck, but besides that, yeah, I think it's completely fine. I like that. I mean, like, I am fine with the talent system that we have, and I don't know if they should make that the Covenant system or not. I don't know, but I do think there should be a way for you to swap in and out of them without too much trouble. If it's not like, it doesn't have to be something that like you just click a button. Like, yeah, maybe you have to put in a little bit of an investment to it. I'll compromise on that, but making it to where like there's like this massive fucking thing like, oh, you can't go back and forth, I don't really feel like that's going to help the game.
I mean, I think that's like really the only way that they could make it work, though, in the way that it is. One of my friends just whispered, he's like, 17 Miss of Tierna, no Kyrians. It's like, that's the kind of stuff you'll see, maybe, but I don't know.
I saw like a lot of people already tweeting jokes like that, like looking for Fenthir to do. Yeah. The question is, are those jokes going to be real or not? And I think one of the scary things is even if they hit the system right now, because of the negative community sentiment, I could see it, even if they do it the right way. And this isn't their fault, right? It's just kind of the nature of the game now. I feel like a bunch of sheeple could still think that it's negative, even if they did manage to get the right way. And I think that that has a profound impact on the game. This is a really good one. I'm literally doing this because I feel like we made too much fun of Asmon, and I can handle it. Rich hairline is worse than Asmon's. Hashtag Allcraft.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I think like even if my hairline is conventionally bad, I like it. I personally like it a lot. I look like the Last Airbender, dude. I look like Aang. Dude, it's hype. Like I actually I don't even need to get the tattoo. I like my hairline a whole bunch, and you know if it's worse than Asmon's, so be it. I beat him at something.
I'll be a first. Listen, all right.
What the heck?
Listen, dude. Like, yeah, no, because you read that because everybody knows my hair sucks. Okay.
Dude, I had your back there. I literally had your back there.
But did you really?
Yeah, and then you go.
Okay, dude. Maybe I'm just getting a little bit too defensive. I get too many hair questions. I have to read my whole Reddit. The whole front page of my Reddit is all. There's like this fucking picture they got of my hair, and then they took it out and they've like put it everywhere. Like apparently, the problem is that my hairline is a Nintendo 64 controller. Like I'm not even kidding. Like it actually.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
It's bad, man. It's fucking bad. So I've got to deal with this every day, and I'm going crazy. Okay, man. Where's the next question? Let's see. We'll get one more. How do you feel about the GCD changes? Because now we're talking about covenants. What about GCD changes?
Oh, that was one of the things I was hoping that they would like listen to, because I'm not a fan of them at all. I don't think it's like good for the game, to be honest, to have them in there. It just slows everything down a lot more. It's like you hit your wings and you have to like wait, like 1.5 seconds, and then, or if you like Crusader Strike, 1.5 seconds, hit your wings, 1.5. There's like a 3 seconds where you're just sitting there, not able to play the game.
Yeah, it's funny. One of the questions too was like, everybody's complaining so much about covenants that no one's talking about GCD changes anymore.
Yeah, that's what I was reading.
Yeah, it's so funny that, I feel like one of the problems right now is it's very easy. And I know Zach and I have talked about doing this a whole bunch, like actually writing up a document about like clearly listing all of the things that we wanted to see changed.
A manifesto.
Yeah. I feel like using the manifesto word was a bad choice. I've moved away from calling it a manifesto anymore because I don't know.
An extended essay.
It sounds like something like Hassan would do. Like you just chew bubblegum and type up the Shadowlands manifesto.
Yeah.
Instead of making his own content. But the thing is I feel like we should kind of put all that stuff in one place, because if we don't, it's very easy to ride that wave that the community rides and just look at one thing, complain about that one thing, hope that it gets changed, but you leave 90% of the game by the wayside.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm kind of concerned about that, but hopefully they'll have. I don't know. I'm not particularly worried. It just depends. I think that's all it really comes down to. It just depends. JB talked about this on a stream. What do you think about changing the Mythic Plus system to cap on a lower key like plus 20 and let the competition be clearing it as fast as possible instead of an endless push? Interesting question. So instead of Mythic Plus scaling infinitely, let's say it only scales up to a plus 20, but then after you get up to a plus 20, you get to be able to clear it faster.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that idea.
You could already do that with the game, the way that the game's set up, and it's not fun enough that anybody's I haven't really seen people do that.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't have an opinion. I've just recently completed all of my 15s. I don't give a shit about Mythic Plus, honestly. Until they give me better gear for it, I'm not going to go in there and do it.
Yeah, I think something like that could be fun for like the MDI.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said this for a long time. I think the MDI has the potential to be something that's great, but I think that the MDI should be balanced by its rule set and by the tournament format, and it shouldn't have an impact on the game.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Because I mean, as of right now, I find like a lot of things like that, it's very easy for it to get boring, right? It's hard to see that as anything but a dungeon guide at a certain point. And if the game was balanced that way to just make everything really fair, I think it could have a negative impact on the game. But I think if you start to get crazy with the format and some of the rules, the MDI could be something that's really hyped that even drives more players to play the game.
Yeah, it makes sense. I will do one more question. I think we can have this one here. Thoughts on joining an additional covenant every patch? So in 9.1 you'll be able to join 2, and 9.3 you'll be in all 4. I don't know. It seems a little bit silly. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, we have no idea what kind of like more progression systems they're gonna come out with at that point. That might feel like a bit. I don't know if that would like work exactly.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I agree with Fandy, right? I think that there might be a world where something like that makes sense. I do think in all fairness, we just don't know enough about the implementation to be speculating on things like that too much. There might be a world where it would feel the best if everybody got to participate in all the different covenant abilities. There might be a world where the current system that they have set up right now does work. And there might be a world where having it be progressive as you move forward and getting a mastery of all of the zones that do exist in the expansion work. I think the beta is really going to start to give us a little bit of insight into that. There's somebody who keeps asking over and over again, talk about paladins in...
Oh, what about Ret Paladins? They suck. I mean, like, that's pretty much all there is to it, right? I mean, they suck and they're not good. I mean, just like every other time. I mean, the thing is, like, the funny thing about Paladins, I feel, is the fact that Paladins will now be able to cast shadow damage. And so all Paladins will no longer be Justice Paragons of the Light. And they'll now just be, fair weather light users.
Yeah. I also feel like, the Paladins are always typing in the chat, but they're never actually playing the game. I think that's something that's pretty telling. Like, dude, just go play the game, man.
Just play holy.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yes. Just go
play.
heal.
Don't say that. Don't say that. It'll upset him. Like, it's too much.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, too much classic PTSD. Yeah. Well, listen, Fandy, we appreciate you coming on. It's good to actually have a WoW player on this show and not just two just chatting streamers. So we do really just chatting with buttons. Excuse me. That's what WoW is, and we do really appreciate you coming on and talking about everything and being so kind to wake up early for us, to wake up for our show.
Yeah, I appreciate you inviting me on. Also, I still have this Asmon, by the way.
Oh, that's my laptop.
Your laptop. I have it. It's safe. Been
okay,
holding
good.
onto it.
I was wondering. I kind of
I
just assumed the dog ate it or something. But all right, that's good to know. Yeah, I'll have to go get it at some point.
Laptop ever. What even is that?
That thing is huge, dude. I didn't realize it was
How old
heavy.
is that?
It's
Alienware.
like I bought it to go to BlizzCon, so I think it was like 2 years old.
Oh yeah, I remember that year.
Yeah,
that was a good year. That was around the time when the three of us hung out for the first time, which was almost the night that you and I almost got shot, right?
No, that was another night.
Oh yeah, that was another night.
Yeah,
we didn't. No. We actually kind of. Never mind. We'll talk about that on the after show. It's a great story. Sure. You're not going to want to miss that. We'll be doing viewer call-ins, but I do want to say, this show would not be possible if it wasn't for the only sponsor that we do have, and honestly, the only sponsor that we do need. Well, I was hyping them up.
True, they're the best. They are the best.
Party, the only sponsor of this show, and one of the reasons that we did decide to partner with them first is because they are doing something that we think is really good for the game. their entire mission is to try to actually allow players to play with each other, make groups together in a non-toxic way. Definitely should check it out. If you could right now, Tyrion, if you are here, if you could actually put our link to party in the chat, definitely do check it out. It helps us out a lot. And also the partnership is something that we really do want to help them out as much as they've helped us out, because as much as we talk about putting on a lot of these community events that we want to do, whether it is tournaments, whether it is all of these different things, Party really has been there having our backs, and they also have your backs when you're trying to find players to play with. So definitely do take a look at Party. We thank them a lot for sponsoring this episode. And yeah, Fandy, once again, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Rich and I are going to do the after show over on his stream, which usually means that we're going to fuck around for about an hour and a half or so. So if you guys want to stick around and watch that, just hang out here, and we're going to host on over there and have a good time there. But yeah, again, thank you very much, Fandy, for coming and being part of the show. And you're actually probably the most progressed person on the show right now. You have done more PvE progress than we have. So yeah, really appreciate that.
Thank you for having me. I was really excited to be asked to be on, to be honest, because I do watch Allcraft a bit, so. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's good to have some people on. I usually, like, you're one of the people that we've had on that we haven't had on multiple times before, and I think that's always a cool thing.
Yeah, wait, bless you. This is the first time that you've been on, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, oh, cool. All right. Well, thank you a lot. We'll definitely have you on again soon. I mean, it's one of those things where right now I feel like we're having just a crazy amount of news. Guys, also, like, we know that we're getting another interview tomorrow, which I think is going to give us a lot of information. And we actually already, they don't know yet, but we already know who the next guest is, and I think it's going to be a really good episode.
What was the announcement?
I did the same thing that you do with your stream title. We didn't actually have an announcement.
Oh, we just told people that so they would stay tuned?
It worked. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Yeah. Dude, I learned a lot from just reading your stream title. Man.
That's a lot.
Got a big announcement. But in all seriousness, guys, thank you for watching the show. If you do want to join the viewer call-ins, we'll be doing that in a little bit. And then also, but before we do hop off the call, should I be logging in to the beta, or should I be logging into retail?
Do whatever you want. It's up to you, dude.
I'm down to do some dungeons with you if you want.
Do
you want to do dungeons during the viewer call-ins?
I don't give a fuck, dude. Like, I'm there to chill. Like, if you guys want to do that, I'm down. If you guys want to do something else, I'm down. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap up my stream and get all that done. Rich, I'll give you a little bit of time to start it up. Fandy, again, one more time, thank you very much for being part of the show.
Yeah.
Wrap it up, dude.
All right.
See you in a little bit.
All right, I'll see you guys later. Peace.